What is going on, NFL fans? Jay all day here. In today's episode, we're going to do another NFC East only mock draft. We're going to mock draft the first 3 rounds for each team in the NFC East. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get into it. Before we get started, guys, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps this community grow. We appreciate you guys so much. Let's get into the first pick with the Washington Commanders on the clock. Caleb Williams went number 1 to the Bears. Everyone knows that. So where does Washington go? Do they trade this pick? Do they go with one of the big-time wide receivers, or do they bring in a quarterback? Drake May or Jaden Daniels? The more tape I watch, I've been going back and forth between Drake May and Jaden Daniels. And if you look at Drake May's statistics, he kind of regressed this year from last year. We want to see growth, and that's exactly what Jaden Daniels has done. 21, 22, 23, from an 83 to a 94 overall grade. Look at that completion percentage, 65% to 68% to 71%, and the same thing with yards, 2,300 to 2,900 to 3,800, 40 touchdowns to only 4 interceptions. I love Jaden Daniels. Going to Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury, the new offensive coordinator for Washington. He's worked with guys like Kyler Murray and Patrick Mahomes. Jaden Daniels is the perfect fit for the Washington Commanders at number 2. Drake May went number 3, Harrison number 4, and Joe Alt to the Chargers. Now the Giants are on the clock. Do we go big-time wide receiver, or do we bring in some offensive line help? I think they're going to address the weapons. The Giants' offensive line is not as crappy as some people think it is. It's actually solid. It's like a 7 grade. And I think Daniel Jones is a little bit better than people think too. Let's give him a number 1 wide receiver. Malik Neighbors. If Daniel Jones can't get it done with Neighbors, the dude's got to go. But give him a shot with Neighbors, a true number 1 wide receiver. He can win at all 3 levels. Short, intermediate, and deep balls. Neighbors is an absolute beast. He's going number 6 to the Giants. If the board falls like this for the Philadelphia Eagles, they're going to have a really tough decision on their hands. Do they go with a guy like Amarius Mims, who could be the potential replacement for Lane Johnson in a couple years? Because Mims has great tackle size at 6'7", but then the 2 corners from Alabama, Terrion Arnold and Kool-Aid McKinstry, who is the better corner out of these 2 guys? That's really, really tough to tell, man. Arnold is an absolute beast, man. 84 coverage grade, 90 against the run. Man coverage grade 61. I don't love that. Now let's take a look at Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid, 82 in 2022, 88 in 2023. He's definitely way better at man coverage, and I find that super important. I like his size too. 6'1", 195. Terrion Arnold is a little bit smaller, 6 foot, 195. I think they're giving him a little bit of cushion in the weight too. He's not quite that heavy. This is a really tough decision, but I think the more pressing need is at cornerback, right? And I'm going with Kool-Aid McKinstry, guys. I think he's a little bit more solid of a cornerback than Terrion Arnold. He's a little bit bigger. He's a little bit better man-to-man. And in the NFL, you have to be able to cover man-to-man. Most people can learn a zone, but the skills to play man-to-man are much more pressing in today's NFL. I'm going Kool-Aid McKinstry with the 22nd pick of the first round for the Birds. Now, the Dallas Cowboys on the clock. They don't even have to think about this now. Their dude, Amarius Mims, is still available. The dude's your prototypical tackle, man. Really good pass blocker, 81 grade. 6'7", 340 pounds. Mims is not necessarily a finished product yet, but he's young. He's only 21, barely 21 years of age, and I'm telling you, he has ridiculous upside. I love Mims to the Cowboys. The Washington Commanders got their quarterback in Jaden Daniels, so where do we go next? If you break down the Commanders roster, they are terrible at the cornerback position. So it's between Sanristiel, who's more of like a hybrid player. He can play safety, he can play in the slot, he can play outside a little bit. I like his versatility, but Kamari Lassiter is more of your number 1 outside corner, 87 coverage grade, very solid against the run too, and great man coverage, 81 grade. This guy's a stud. He's a little thin, 6 foot, 180. A lot of the cornerbacks in this draft, like Nate Wiggins and Lassiter, they're pretty skinny guys, so they're going to have to put on a little bit of size. I would like to see him in that 190 to 195 range, but he's young too. barely 21 years of age, so he's going to fill out a little bit. I'm not worried about that. Kamari Lassiter is going to the Commanders with their second pick in the draft. The Commanders need some offensive line help too. I like Jordan Morgan from Arizona. I think he fits better at the guard position at the NFL level. 283 grades back-to-back years. He plays a ton of snaps, almost 800 snaps this year. Very good pass blocker. He might be able to compete for a starting tackle position, but he might be better suited as guard at the NFL level. 6'6", 320. Very solid player. Smooth mover. I like him. You got to protect Jaden Daniels. So the best lineman left on the board is Jordan Morgan, the tackle from Arizona. Whether he plays inside or outside, it doesn't matter. We need some help in that room. The Giants are up at pick 47. I really want to address the interior defensive line. And I think a guy who's really underestimated is Chris Jenkins from Michigan, or Edgerrin Cooper, the linebacker from Texas A&M. But the Giants need to get some interior line help, man. They really, really need it. Chris Jenkins is a stud, man. 280 grades the past 2 years. He's really, really, really good against the run. Decent against the pass. Pass rush win rate at 11% is pretty solid. And the run stop rate at 12.6% is top of the class. This guy's an absolute monster. He's one of the strongest players in the draft. 6'3", 305. Let's give the Giants some defensive line help, and Chris Jenkins can do just that. The Eagles are on the board at pick 50 in this 4-round mock draft. I love Edgerrin Cooper, the linebacker from Texas A&M. If you're following my Eagles content, I love Edgerrin Cooper. And if he somehow falls to the Birds at this pick, you have to have him on your team. The Eagles are transitioning to a 3-4 defense, and their linebacker position smells worse than Oscar the Grouch on a hot summer day. So Edgerrin Cooper is the guy. 86 pass rush grade, 87 run D grade, 85 in coverage, 90 overall grade this year. Absolute beast. 58 tackles, 6'3", 230, and he ran a 4.5 40. This dude is amazing. Please let the Birds pick Edgerrin Cooper. Please, Howie. Please. The Birds are up again at pick 53. Unfortunately, they don't have a 3rd-round pick in this mock draft. So, we have one more pick for the Birds. Who do we go with? We got our corner. We got our linebacker. There's a couple really good receivers left on the board. And I absolutely love Roman Wilson from Michigan. He was J.J. McCarthy's most reliable target at Michigan in a very run-heavy offense. He doesn't have monster numbers because they didn't pass the ball that much, dude. He only had 67 targets all year long, 48 receptions, and he still got almost 800 yards. That means he's getting almost 17 yards per reception. That number's huge, guys. That's a monster number. Drop rate only 2%. That's what we need in Philly. 84 receiving grade. He's got pretty decent size for a slot guy, too. 6 foot, 192. With Roman Wilson, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and A.J. Brown. OMG. That offense is going to be super scary. The Dallas Cowboys are up. Round 2, pick 24. The Cowboys are up in the 2nd round, pick 24. We addressed offensive line earlier in the draft. I want to give Dak Prescott and this offense some more weapons, right? So I want to go wide receiver. Do we go Xavier Legette, Keon Coleman? Jalen Polk is really good too. Xavier Worthy, this speedster. Brandon Cooks is getting old. There's pretty much only CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson to pass the ball to. So where do we go? Do we go like a shiftier guy like Keon Coleman? Or do we go like a big, strong, deep threat like Xavier Legette? Legette is compared to DK Metcalf. The dude was a monster this year, guys. 6'3", 227 pounds. Super fast still. Good speed. I like him. Look at all these pros. Impressive size. Dominant contested catch receiver. Creates yards after the catch. This guy's a beast, man. Cowboys fans are going to love this pick. Xavier Legette is going to the Cowboys. All right, Commanders fans, we're kicking off the 3rd round with pick 3. I want to give the Commanders some edge help, and that's why I like Gabriel Murphy from UCLA. He was kind of overshadowed by Laiatu Latu and his dominance this year, but he was really good too. 40 quarterback hurries, 8 sacks. Look at these grades, man. 87.6 pass rush grade. Pass rush win rate, 18.4%, amongst the top in the class, and very solid against the run. He didn't really have too many bad games. He started off the season super hot. I think he wore out towards the end of the year a little bit, but he bounced back in the most important games of the year towards the end of the season. I like his size, 6'3", 260. Very solid player. I like adding Gabriel Murphy to that edge room for the Commanders. If I'm the Giants, I want to add some more help to that offensive line. Christian Haynes, the guard from the Huskies, is super solid. He's played over 800 snaps his entire college career, all 3 years. Zone grade 89.2. This guy is super, super legit. The Giants definitely need to address the running back position, but I think Christian Haynes has fallen way too far. He's not going to be there much longer. He's going to the Giants. The Commanders are on the board again in round 3, pick 14. I want to give Jaden Daniels some more weapons. Let's give him one of the best running backs in college football, Bucky Irving, guys. 14 games played, almost 1,200 yards, average 6.4 yards per carry, rushing grade 91.8, gap grade 93.4. His elusive rating is 149.2, at the top of the class. The dude's an absolute stud. 5'10", 195. I like his frame. He's going to be a great addition to that running back room in Washington. Bucky Irving is going to the Commanders. All right, the Cowboys are on the clock. Round 3, pick 24. I like adding to the linebacker room here. Jeremiah Trotter somehow fell to pick 87 where the Cowboys are up. They need linebacker help. With Leighton Vander Esch retiring. 85.7 grade this year, 86 grade last year. Plays over 680 snaps the past 2 years. Pass rush grade 78. Run defense grade 80. Coverage grade 82. He's very good in all facets of being a linebacker. Pretty solid size, 6', 230. I love Jeremiah Trotter going to the Cowboys. Even though I'm a Birds fan and I hate Trotter Jr. going to the Cowboys would be fools not to pick him here. With this final pick, I want to address the tight end position. Right now, I think the Commanders have Zach Ertz penciled in to be their starting tight end. I want to give them the most versatile tight ends in this entire draft. Ben Sinnott from Kansas State, 82 grade this year, average over 13 yards per reception, 6 touchdowns. That receiving grade at 81 is great. 4% drop rate is not too bad for a tight end. I like that there. And he's got great size, 6'4", 245. He can line up in the slot. He can line up outside. You can inline him on the regular tight end spot. You can do everything with Ben Sinnott. That's why I love him going to the Commanders to compete with the starting spot with Zach Ertz. All right, real quick, everybody. Daniels went to the Commanders. Neighbors to the Giants. The Birds went McKinstry, and the Cowboys went Mims in round 2. Lassiter, the corner, goes to the Commanders, along with Jordan Morgan, the tackle. Chris Jenkins to the Giants. Edgerrin Cooper, the linebacker, to the Eagles. They also got Roman Wilson, the wide receiver, at 53. Xavier Legette, the monster wide receiver, goes to the Cowboys at pick 56. Pick 67, Gabe Murphy, the edge defender from UCLA, goes to the Commanders. Christian Haynes, the talented guard, goes to the Giants at pick 70. Bucky Irving, one of the best running backs in the draft, goes to the Commanders at pick 78. And Jeremiah Trotter sadly goes to the Cowboys. Then, the last pick of the draft, tight end Ben Sinnott, goes to the Commanders. Let me know in the comments below. Do you like this draft? Do you like these picks for the NFC East teams? I love doing these mock drafts for the NFC East. Don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next mock. Peace.